Sorry if I sound tired, it's because I am. If you're just here for the iceberg, then I urge you to skip to the timestamp on screen. I just want to real quickly explain what the iceberg meme is. The stuff here at the top of the iceberg, things most people would know about. The stuff at the bottom of the iceberg, things that most people wouldn't know about. The deeper you go, the deeper the lore gets. I could see that some people were confused about what belongs in an iceberg, because I got a lot of submissions about the fact that Mothwing and Leafpool are related. So first of all, that would not be particularly iceberg worthy by itself, since incest is pretty much the norm in Warriors. And second, Mothpool isn't even canon. Why would I put a non-canon pairing in an iceberg that is about the lore of Warriors? Mothpool isn't lore. If you don't like a ship, that's fine. Ships are generally pretty easy to ignore. You don't need to make up an excuse for why the ship you don't like is problematic, and you most definitely do not need to try to get a YouTuber to put your excuse in a video to validate your opinion. I'm not going to put people down because they like a fictional pairing. Okay, on to the video. After their death, the clan cats join an entity called Star Clan, which is basically cat heaven. In some rare cases, they join the Dark Forest instead, which is basically cat hell. The cats are able to communicate with living cats after death. While most of the main series focus on 4 clans, Thunder Clan, River Clan, Wind Clan and Shadow Clan, it is revealed in Firestar's quest that there is actually a 5th clan called Sky Clan that was driven off the clan territories after their land was taken by humans. In the 3rd and 4th Warriors arcs, Power of 3 and Omen of the Stars, 3 cats with magic powers are introduced. It is later revealed that they are the resurrections of 3 ancient cats. It is speculated that this is the reason they have their powers, but it is never confirmed in the books. In Power of 3, it is revealed that there are tunnels under the lake territories that host a number of ancient cat spirits, most notably Fallen Leaves, who drowned in the tunnels following a warrior initiation, and Rock, who has been living in the tunnels for a long time. These spirits seem to be permanently stuck wandering the tunnels. In the 2nd arc, New Prophecy, the clan cats meet a tribe of cats living in the mountains. It is revealed in the Dawn of the Clans that the clan cats are in fact descendants of the tribe cats, who once upon a time ran out of prey and sent half their cats to look for a new home. The cats who left went on to form the 5 original clans. The Fortress is a meeting place that the cats use in the 1st arc. In Dawn of the Clans, there is a violent battle at the side of the Fortress, and many of the cats who die are buried there. Therefore, the clan cats are meeting up on an ancient graveyard. The first main character, Firestar, is originally a house cat, and his father is a cat called Jake. In fact, it seems that Jake has fathered quite a lot of kittens in his time, many of them with different mothers. Speaking of Jake, in addition to being the father of Firestar, he is also the father of Scourge, the main villain of the last book in the 1st arc. Firestar and Scourge are unaware of this, but essentially they are both fighting their own half-brother. Crowfeather has had many different mates, first Featherdale, then Leafpool and finally Nightcloud. The 3 kittens Crowfeather has with Leafpool and the son he has with Nightcloud are about the same age. Since it isn't specified when exactly Crowfeather and Nightcloud got together, it seems that they might have already been together by the time that Crowfeather had his little fling with Leafpool. Although this was likely nothing more than a mix-up with the writers. There are going to be a lot of mix-ups on this list. Due to the large amount of cats in the Warriors series, it is no wonder that sometimes the writers forget small details about them, which has led to several characters changing gender between or within the books, sometimes just once and sometimes even multiple times. Some fans headcanon these cats as being transgender. Probably due to the aforementioned reason, it is also very common for the characters to change fur or eye color between books. A character called Dovewing, despite being a main character, has had a total of 3 different eye colors. Another common mix-up in Warriors has to do with age. For example, kittens are made into apprentices at 6 months old, But a cat called Cloudtail was made into an apprentice earlier than other kittens who had been born before him. It is no secret that HarperCollins has a lot of control over what does and what doesn't go in the books, which has led to a noticeable lack of LGBTQ representation in Warriors. However, some of the authors have confirmed that they think Jake and Tallstar, as well as Ravenpaw and Barley, are actually gay couples. Age gaps in relationships are very common in Warriors. For example, Bluefur, who was Trushbelt's love interest, was just 1 day old when Trushbelt was made into a warrior. Similar and larger age gaps can be seen in many canon pairings. The largest one by far seems to be the one between Leopardfoot and Pinestar, which is about 8 years, while most of the characters don't even live that long. Erin Hunter, the name on the front cover of every Warriors book, isn't actually a real person. For a long time, the books were instead written by 4 different authors. Nowadays, all of the original authors aren't on board anymore, and it is somewhat unclear who is even writing the books at this point. Again, probably due to the large amount of characters in the Warriors series, sometimes a cat dies in a book, but is shown alive in the next. One example is Heavystep, who dies in the book Sunset, yet appears alive again in the next arc. Some of the cats in the first arc were originally going to have different names. For example, Tigerclaw was originally supposed to be called Hammerclaw. At the end of the first arc, the villain Scourge is killed. In the book, Firestar wonders where his spirit is going to go, since StarClan is reserved for clan cats. In later books, it is shown that many of the spirits of non-clan cats, such as the spirit of Jake, is in fact still roaming around. This would imply that Scourge's spirit could still exist somewhere. Sometimes characters have been killed between books and mentioned at the beginning of the next one as having died, usually of an illness. This is probably to keep the amount of side characters at acceptable levels, which the books continuously fail to do. Sometimes, however, a cat disappears and is never mentioned again. It is assumed that these cats also just died between the books, but for whatever reason their death isn't mentioned. Since having a mate outside of one's own clan is forbidden, pretty much every cat in the Warriors series is related to one another. Even those who end up being in a relationship. Usually the family relation between mates is along the lines of first or second cousin, but the character Greystripe's parents are actually siblings. Because Warriors again has such a large amount of side characters, sometimes the specific lore of who is whose child and whose name is who isn't written in. At one point in time, one of the authors assigned a fan to make up the missing pieces, but the lore created by her is nowadays regarded as not canon. As an April Fool's prank, one of the authors stated that the cat Thistleclaw originally went to StarClan, but was driven out by his rival Bluestar, and thus joined the Dark Forest. This obviously isn't canon, but it's very funny in my opinion. As another April Fool's prank, one of the authors stated that Jake died by being hit by a meteorite. I actually do regard this one as canon. Bright Spirit is a cat that was named as a dedication to Emmy Grace Cherry, a 10-year-old Warriors fan who died in a tornado. The 10-year-old was described as having had a bright spirit, thus the name. It was announced on Twitter at one point that there was a Warriors movie in the making. The official Twitter account for the Warriors movie went on to collect statements about why they loved the Warriors book so much from the fans for promotional material, but this movie hasn't been heard from in a long time. Most assume that it's been cancelled. One of the authors, Kate Carey, wrote a Christmas-themed fanfiction about the ship Firegrey, the pairing between Firestar and Greystripe. The ship isn't canon, as both of these characters are paired with other cats in the books, but it is a bit of a fan favorite as Firestar and Greystripe have a strong bond in the books. The Warriors books don't really care about high levels of realism, obviously. I mean, it's a fantasy series with cat superpowers and all that jazz. So, oftentimes the cats have kittens who look nothing like either of the parents. This has led to some fan speculation as to whether the mother of the kittens cheated on their mate. At one point, a screenshot circulated around in which there was a Facebook post by one of the authors that stated that she was planning on having the character Sparkpelt commit suicide in an upcoming book. the screenshot was fake, obviously. The cats in StarClan and Dark Forest do not last forever. It's been stated by the authors that once the living cats have forgotten about their existence, they disappear from existence for good. This is never stated to happen in the books themselves, although it is shown that cats who have been dead for a long time are more transparent than the more recently dead cats. Apparently, during the golden age of online multiplayer games such as Club Bingwing and Animal Jam, there was also a Warriors team multiplayer game in the making. It seems that this idea was scrapped because it hasn't been heard from in a long time. For more information on this topic, you can check out the videos by Falcon Develops. I'm gonna put a link in the description. Perhaps the most controversial Warriors book is a novella called Spottedlife's Heart. In this book, an apprentice called Spotted Paw gets coerced into a relationship with a warrior named Thistleclaw. Relationships between apprentices and warriors have happened before in these books without being treated with any concern, such as the relationship between Fernpaw and Dustbelt and the relationship between Feathertail and Crowpaw. But in this specific case, the book very clearly portrays the relationship as pedophilic, as Spotted Paw thinks that she is too young to be with Thistleclaw before he convinces her otherwise, and Thistleclaw tells Spotted Paw not to tell anyone else that they were meeting. In the end, Spotted Paw escapes the relationship by becoming a medicine cat and therefore becoming untouchable. You know, instead of telling anyone about Thistleclaw. In this children's book, the novella understandably caused wide backlash, and in the end, one of the original authors ended up quitting the writing team in the aftermath of this, although she stated that it was a decision long in the making. Firestar Housecat's sister, Princess, has a litter of kittens in the first arc. Their father isn't mentioned. The only housecat Tom that we know of during this time in the books is Firestar's previous friend, Smudge, which has led fans to believe that he could be the father of Princess. Other fans have argued against this, as Smudge is shown to have been castrated when Firestar meets him again in the books, while others think that he could have been castrated after getting together with Princess. There isn't really any proof for this theory aside from who else could it be. Most of the Dark Forest cats we're introduced to are cats that the reader would already know from previous books, such as Hawkfrost, Borkenstar, and Mapleshade. One of the Dark Forest cats stands out because he has actually never been mentioned before showing up in the Dark Forest, and this character is Snowtuft. There is a theory that we have in fact seen Snowtuft before, and that he is actually a character with the same pelt, eye color, and name, who was introduced in the first arc, Snokit. Snokit is a deaf kitten who gets taken away by a hawk and is never seen again. Because he bears such a close resemblance to Snowtuft, some people think that he might have grown up somewhere else, died, and joined the Dark Forest. Snowtuft, unlike Snokit, isn't deaf, but sometimes cats in the Warrior series have been shown to lose their disabilities as they die. So, remember that we don't really know where Scourge's spirit went? One of Scourge's most prominent visible features is that he has one white paw. A cat born after Scourge's death, called Squirrelflight, also has one white paw, and is in fact the only other cat described as having one white paw. This has led some fans to speculate that Squirrelflight could be a reincarnation of Scourge, although nothing in the books aside from the white paw has ever pointed in that direction. In the Super Edition, Blue Star's Prophecy, Thistleclaw's sister Sweetpaw is declared dead and buried by her brother. Some fans have speculated that Sweetpaw didn't actually die, but rather fell into a coma. This theory has probably come up because Sweetpaw's mother only states that Sweetpaw won't wake up, and nobody is shown to check her breathing or heartbeat. According to this theory, Thistleclaw actually buried Sweetpaw alive. However, Bluefur does smell Sweetpaw's body, and notes that she smells the same as Moonflower, who died earlier in the book. That's the iceberg! If I made any mistakes, please let me know in the comments. Here's a big list of everyone who submitted something to the iceberg. I didn't filter these, so not all of these people's suggestions got added to the iceberg, but hey, thanks anyways. I can't always think of all the theories from the top of my head, so it helps to get reminders. Also, a big thank you to my big tier Patreon supporters, EC Arts, Put Me On Fire, and Pixie Art5, and my small tier Patreon supporters, Gasinamu, Borkenstar, Brianna Perry, and HollaceDay. Your support means a lot to me, especially since I didn't sleep last night and I'm tired and I'm stammering because I can't even move my tongue. Thanks.